You picked up your phone this morning, maybe in bed, maybe on the toilet, maybe before you'd even had your first coffee. You opened an app, started scrolling, and within about 90 seconds you saw someone's holiday photos, or their promotion announcement, or their wedding, their new house, their body, their life, and something shifted, not dramatically, just quietly. A small grey feeling settled somewhere in your chest that wasn't there 60 seconds ago. Nothing in your life had changed, not a single thing, but somehow you felt less. That feeling has a name. It's called social comparison, and it isn't a character flaw or a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a biological drive so deeply wired into your brain that you've been running it since the day you were born, and most of the time, you don't even know it's happening. Let's start with why your brain compares in the first place. In 1954, a social psychologist at the University of Minnesota named Leon Festinger published a paper that changed how we understand human behavior. His theory was simple, almost uncomfortable in how obvious it sounds once you hear it. He argued that human beings have no internal measuring stick. None. You cannot know how smart you are, how attractive you are, how successful or talented or capable you are, not in any absolute sense. The only tool your brain has ever had is other people. You measure yourself against them, constantly, automatically, without deciding to. Festinger called it social comparison theory, and for 70 years the researchers backed him up at every turn. When people are asked to rate their own intelligence in isolation, they flounder. Give them a reference point, someone smarter, someone less sharp, and suddenly they know exactly where they stand. We are not self-contained, we are relational. Our entire sense of self is built on a live running comparison with everyone around us. This is the part most people get wrong. You probably think that comparing yourself to others is a confidence problem, that secure, happy people don't do it, that if you just worked on yourself enough, the comparisons would stop. They won't, ever. Because this isn't about your self-esteem, it's about your architecture. The comparison drive is baked into you at a level far deeper than personality or mindset. In our ancestral environment, small bands of maybe 150 people, knowing where you ranked mattered enormously. Were you contributing enough to keep your place in the group? Were you falling behind in ways that might get you pushed out? Social rank wasn't vanity, it was survival. The people who monitored their standing carefully, who noticed when someone was outperforming them and adjusted, those people lived. The ones who didn't notice got left behind. Your brain inherited that alarm system in full working order. It fires whether you want it to or not. But not all comparisons feel the same. Psychologists divide social comparison into two directions. Upward comparison, measuring yourself against someone doing better than you, and downward comparison, measuring yourself against someone doing worse. And here's the part that's a little uncomfortable to admit out loud. Downward comparison feels good. When you hear that a colleague got passed over for the promotion you both wanted, there's a small, quiet relief that most people would rather not examine too closely. When a friend's relationship falls apart and yours is fine, something in you exhales just slightly. This isn't cruelty. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's your brain's threat monitoring system doing a status check and coming back with good news. You're still in the group. You're not falling behind. You're okay. The problem is the other direction. Upward comparison, looking at someone doing better, looking better, living better, triggers something in the brain that researchers have compared to a physical threat response. Your cortisol rises, your mood drops, your attention narrows. For a few minutes, your nervous system genuinely cannot tell the difference between this person has a nicer car than me and there is a predator nearby. The stakes feel the same even when they obviously aren't. And here's what makes this particularly strange. We don't compare ourselves to everyone above us. We compare ourselves to people we consider relevant. Similar age, similar background, similar starting point. A 19-year-old doesn't feel crushed seeing a 60-year-old CEO, but show them a 23-year-old with a startup and a penthouse, and the comparison lands like a punch. The closer someone is to you, in age, in circumstance, in the life you thought you were going to have, the harder it hits. You've felt this. You know exactly which people in your life you compare yourself to, and which ones you don't. And you probably already know that the ones you compare yourself to most are the ones who sting the most. But wait, because here's where it gets even more interesting. Like I said before, for the vast majority of human history, your comparison pool was tiny. You lived among roughly 150 people. That was your entire world, your tribe, your community. And yes, you compared yourself to them constantly, but they were real. You saw them wake up grumpy. You saw them struggle. You saw the full, unedited, unglamorous version of their lives playing out in real time right next to yours. Now think about what happened to that pool. Today you carry a device in your pocket that gives you access to millions of people simultaneously. Not real people living real lives. Carefully selected, professionally lit, expertly filtered highlights of people at their absolute best. The promotion announcement, but not the 2 years of quiet desperation that that came before it. The holiday photo, but not the argument at the airport. The body transformation, but not the context, the time, the resources, the team that made it possible. Your brain, running the same comparison software Festinger identified in 1954, cannot tell the difference. It takes the input and processes it exactly the same way it always has. It measures, it ranks, it updates your status report. Except now the data it's working with is almost entirely false. In 2013, psychologist Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan ran a study that followed 82 people over 2 weeks, texting them 5 times a day to check their mood and their Facebook usage. The finding was clean and a little brutal. The more people used Facebook, the worse they felt. Not just in the moment, over time. Their life satisfaction declined in a straight line with their usage. And crucially, it wasn't about how many friends they had or how often people interacted with them. It was about passively scrolling, just watching, just consuming other people's lives without participating. The term researchers now use is passive consumption, and it is the single most reliable way to make yourself feel worse using social media. Not posting, not commenting, not connecting, just scrolling, just absorbing, just feeding your ancient comparison system an endless stream of data it was never designed to handle. And the particularly cruel irony is this: everyone else is doing exactly the same thing you are. They're all posting their highlights. They're all hiding the mess. So you're comparing your entire life, the boring bits, the hard bits, the 3 a.m. bits, to everyone else's greatest hits. It's not a fair fight. It was never going to be. You know all of this though. You've probably known it for years, and you still do it. That's not hypocrisy. That's not weakness. That's something much more specific and much harder to escape. Social comparison, as Festinger pointed out, is automatic. It happens before conscious thought, before you've decided to engage, before you've reminded yourself that Instagram isn't real, before your rational brain has even woken up properly. The comparison has already been made. The feeling is already there. You're not choosing to feel worse. The machinery runs without your permission, and then something else kicks in. Social media platforms are built on the same psychological mechanism as slot machines. Variable reward schedules, the unpredictable, irregular delivery of something that feels good. Sometimes you scroll and find something funny, something that makes you feel connected, something genuinely useful. Sometimes you find something that makes you feel terrible. You never know which one it's going to be, and that unpredictability, that not knowing, is more addictive than any consistent reward could ever be. Your brain keeps pulling the lever because maybe this time it'll be good. But here's the part nobody talks about. When the comparison triggers anxiety, when you see something that makes you feel behind or less than, or like you've somehow taken a wrong turn in your own life, your brain doesn't respond by closing the app. It responds by seeking more information, because anxiety is a threat signal, and threat signals demand resolution. So you keep scrolling, looking for data that will settle the feeling, which exposes you to more comparisons, which creates more anxiety, which makes you scroll more. It feeds itself. Quietly, efficiently, endlessly. And the whole time, the app is learning exactly which kind of content makes you feel that particular feeling, because that's the content that keeps you on the platform longest. The algorithm isn't trying to make you miserable, it's just trying to keep you watching. The fact that those two things overlap is not your problem to solve, but it is your problem to understand. So go back to this morning. You picked up your phone, you opened the app, you started scrolling, and within 90 seconds, that small grey feeling settled in your chest. Here's what was actually happening in that moment. Your 200,000-year-old brain was doing its job, scanning the environment, measuring, updating, trying to keep you safe in a world that no longer sends the kinds of threats it was built to detect. So it treats a stranger's holiday photos like a status report. It treats someone's promotion announcement like a signal that you're falling behind. It treats a body on a screen like evidence about your own. You will never stop comparing. No one does. No one can. But the question isn't whether your brain will measure. It will, every day for the rest of your life. The question is what you're holding up as the ruler.